I'm delighted to kick off this session with a conversation with Nedim Pipic on a really important topic, and that is on the real need to increase investment and awareness around serious mental health. So Nedim, I'll welcome you to the stage. So Nedim, I'm going to go ahead and get started, and hopefully people will start to sit down here in a moment. But we hosted a really exciting event in this venue last night that was all around serious mental health illness being really overlooked in the broader mental health conversation, that recognizing there has been a real increase in both awareness, maybe some in funding on mental health in the past few years. But within that, serious mental health, such as schizophrenia, PTSD, really is not enough of that conversation, and really how much we need to include that more in the overall topic of mental health support. You at Boehringer Ingelheim have really been kind of leaders on this issue. And I want to just start off and kick off and understand kind of where are you seeing and how are you playing a role in advancing mental health in the overall global health picture?
Well, that's a big question. Thank you for having me, and I'll thanks to the audience for in between where you need to eat and drink, and please do so. You're also taking the time to listen to me a little bit. But I do want to start before we go on what our role is, and as a company and as an innovator with pharmacotherapies, what we do there. I would like to take a step back, and I think many of you here in the audience are here because when we talk about mental health, it's a big topic. But it's also a very wide one. And when we then break it down to serious mental illnesses, it's a global pandemic. When you talk about major depressive disorder, schizophrenia, PTSD, I'm sure many in this room have some connection to it, have been affected to it. So it's very personal, very emotional to many of us. And when you then look at the statistics, it's not surprising because 1 in 8 people are living with a serious mental illness. I'm sorry to say, but 1 in 2 of each person in this room will have to face a mental challenge, mental illness in the course of their lifetime. And I think that really exacerbates all of the challenges that come with it. And I think one where we say this needs to be a cross-sectoral approach of how you help people living with serious mental health conditions overcome the challenges is we could come with the most impactful transformational therapy to help. And it will be useless because at the moment, the care pathways in mental health, they're broken. They're fragmented. So if I just start with lack of access, so the high unmet need is there, and I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir, but 70% of those who need help, who have a serious mental illness, lack access to mental health services. That's already the starting point of the problem. So even if you would have a therapy, access is an issue. Why we're not reacting, I'm sometimes even shocked because the economic burden is huge. You have approximately around $1 trillion as a burden on the global economy, and it's going to go up 6 times by 2030. So on the one hand, I think everybody's nodding and saying, yeah, this is huge, but what are we doing about it? And maybe 2 points to add, and I'm sorry, it's a long answer, but it's close to my heart because I think we're all visiting so many events, what the issues are. I think another topic, and there's many trying to address it, we have lack of good data, lack of qualitative data, and I'm quoting Neil Shah, who's been with me at the morning at the Health Finance Institute event, is you can't address what you can't measure. And if the data availability, completeness, and the quality to help to truly understand the burden of serious mental illnesses does not work properly, well, then that's another topic which I think we all need to take seriously. And I would close with we are lying to ourselves if we think that stigma has been improving, that the misconceptions are not there anymore. I have to say they're here every day. And you see it in the media, you see it across all the various channels. I think we all need to improve there. And I'm talking developed countries, right? We're not talking developing countries. So there's so much we can do. So, our commitment is to bring forward innovative solutions that should help the patients holistically, be it pharmacotherapies, be it digital therapeutics, but to really make a lasting difference on their lives. I think I would like everybody else in this room to also think what we can do together to do it cross-sectorally, because in mental health, it doesn't take a village, it takes a city to truly make a difference.
Yeah, and in our conversation we had last night, really taking a community-centric approach to patient care. You laid out very well a lot of the challenges. What are some of the opportunities you see, and what are some of the things, the bright spots in increasing both funding and access to mental health care?
So when I prepared the talking points, I'll be honest, it was super easy to write down the challenges. And I could have 5 pages of challenges. It was pretty hard to look at opportunities, because the opportunities, they sound so logical. So to start, we should increase investment in mental health in community-based services. We need to really take seriously that actually mental health should be integrated into primary care, just like any other area, like any other therapeutic area is integrated in primary care to have the right triage of where the patient should go. Mental health isn't. Why is that? Right? I know it's hard, and I know it's not easy, and it's also not easy to sometimes deal with these challenges for those having the disease, but also for the caregivers. But like to end it, not every country has a funded national mental health strategy, and if they do, it hasn't been updated in 10 to 20 years. So those are the opportunities, but as I said, I had a hard time putting those down, and I'm sure it's very logical and rational what I'm saying, but to pull through is very hard.
Yeah, and there's going to be a high-level meeting on NCDs next year, and so what would you like to see? How would you like to see mental health really taking a center stage in those conversations?
I think the one topic is we should all think, and let's start at country level. How can we adopt comprehensive approaches to mental health? Because it needs to be end-to-end. It's a holistic way of thinking. Again, coming back to the therapy is really coming at the end of the patient journey. In mental health, we really need to get a lot of other things done right before that. So it starts with promotion, prevention, then obviously treatment, but the recovery is another crucial part. So I think this comprehensive approach and really integrating that into international framework, and I think the one from WHO's Comprehensive Mental Health Action Plan is a very good example. That would be something that everybody should consider. So start and get the best practice learning from those frameworks at the international level, and then really aim at implementing, advocating for them at national levels.
Yeah, and I was really struck in the conversations we had yesterday just around the role of education and how important it is, from everything from high school students and patients and communities to the healthcare system to policymakers. So, when you think about combating the stigma, a lot of that can be done through education. And in fact, many even health providers aren't even aware that some of these mental health illnesses are curable, right? And so how do you think about education playing a role in increasing access and also combating stigma?
Education is another big one. One aspect of education is disease awareness. So I think it's important to take care of mental health well-being, which was raised to such a pedestal after COVID. It's just as important to be aware what are the severe and complex mental health conditions that many people have to cope with, but also be aware that those are two different things. So that's why I mentioned disease awareness. What is PTSD? How do I identify a person with major depressive disorder? What are potential ways to help them? And where could we refer them? I'm honest, we see so many people on the streets. I sometimes wonder, so if I would like to help a person, what is the next best step to do? I don't know, maybe you know it. I don't always know it. So this is like really raising that educational level, how to help people suffering from it, how to make sure that also the caregivers get the help they need to really support them the best way. And then on the educational side, and I'm just stealing something from much more experienced colleagues that I met yesterday on mental health literacy. So what is the wording you use in the media when you talk about mental health? How do you educate the students in schools to be open and talk about it? People don't dare to talk about it. So we think they do. No, they don't. Yes, we talk about the lighter stuff, well-being, healthy workforce, very important topics. But serious mental illness is a big topic. It's just harder to talk about that. So what are the words we use? I think it plays a huge role, and we all can contribute to improve that.
Well, thank you, Nedim, and thank you to Boehringer Ingelheim for your leadership on this issue. We will be leading into our next discussion with some real leaders in global health, so maybe we can talk about mental health's role in that. But I will welcome to the stage our President, Editor-Chief, Raj Kumar, and Nedim. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you, everyone.